We're back, and we're going to start working on the wing today. But before I get started on this, I just want to show that I do have the elevator finished, just like I did the vertical stabilizer, except instead of hinging it with a V like I did there, I created a hinge, just one bevel on one side, so I'm going to hinge it along the top. And I'm going to show how I do that after I cover it, and I do that with tape, and I'll tell you what kind of tape that I use to do that. Anyway, again, sorry for the delay. It's lots of things happening, but anyway, we're here. That's what matters. So I had to go and make a couple of adjustments, cuts on the wing before I could start making it. But anyway, this is the basic layout. None of this is glued in. I just mocked it up. I do have to change. Well, no, I don't have to change W7. It's all good. Alright, so if you notice, I have a couple of notches here. So when we build this wing, and again, this is the wing without ailerons. And I have drawn up the wings with ailerons. So this is just kind of showing you how this is going to go together. Anyway, this is that's where the dihedral brace, and I think I'm the only one that I've seen do this where I notch this rib to get this dihedral brace in there, and then that kind of locks all this center into place really well. But anyway, that was a sidetrack. So the first thing I want to do, I got some wax paper on my board here. I actually ordered some covering for this plane, and it hasn't come in yet, so I guess it's okay that I'm a little slow in getting this done. And let me pull these ribs off. The spars I cut are a little thick, but that's alright. So the first thing we want to do is I want to pin this down, this trailing edge piece. This is a supposed to be W5. I think W5 and W6 are identical, so they can actually no, W5 is up here, my bad. So we got W5 on league edge, W6 back here. So I'm gonna just pin this down. If you have a magnet board, those things work great too. Alright, so the spars will have 1/16 inch, or each rib's going to have a 1/16 inch cap strip that goes on top and bottom, and the spar is going to go above that cap strip, so it has to be off of the building board by 1/16 of an inch. And this is our center pieces right here. So we have, make sure I got these right. Go like that. Yeah, tab fits. So these are going to go right here, and I'm going to get my square out so I can line this up. One of these days I'm going to organize my stuff, man. It's tough being busy all the time. Alright, so these will get lined up like this. So we have W6, we're going to have W5 up here. I can go ahead and put a little bit of glue on here. Oh, alright. Yeah. Having an organized desk is really nice, and one of these days I'm going to have one. Or an organized bench. Alright, this is the glue pot for the day. Put a little glue in there. And then a little piece of scrap here as a glue stick. And I'm going to glue these in. And I'm going to push this all the way up against the bottom here and up against this corner, and then that's where this should go. And we'll double check the alignment with the ribs, but we should be good. Alright. Let's put a little bit of glue on here. And these little notches, it didn't work out like I wanted, so I'm going to change that up a little bit. But yeah, there were supposed to be little tabs there and they broke off. I want to go ahead and put in, I'm just going to make sure all this is lined up square. Okay, just like that. And you could draw a couple lines that are perpendicular to each other to do this. This is just one way to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and put the spar in here. And this is the W2 rib. I got it marked there. And I'm going to slide this in. Like I said, this. Okay, and then that should line up with that. Okay, there we go. Alright, so that should all, well, come on thing, don't be messing with me. Let me pin this down, these little center sheeting pieces down. I do like how I drew this up in Fusion where all these pieces kind of lock in with each other. Okay. There we go. Now, that's pretty good. I got a little bit of stuff hanging on here. There we go. Okay. I think that was some of the label. I buy a lot of my balsa from SIG, and sometimes I don't take the labels off right away. Alright, so there we go. So that's going to sit there like that. Now this can run a little wild, this bottom spar, and I like to do that sometimes. And I'll trim it off once I get the first rib in place, because what's going to get my angle on this W1 rib are going to be the notches here in the joiners. Alright, so I need to shim up this spar, and I'm going to do that. So I haven't glued this yet, just trying to get all this lined up. So I'm going to put some shims under this spar. This is some 1/16 inch scrap. Alright, this is kind of sticking up. I hope everybody's been having a good year so far. And you've had time to fly and build, and most importantly, learn some new stuff in Fusion. I know I learn stuff every day in Fusion. It's definitely a great program. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue here on my W5 piece. Just like so. I do have another airplane in the works that I actually have somebody doing the beta build on, and we're going to do one more cut and beta build it, and it was of an airplane that was kitted by Ace way back in the 90s called a Bingo. It's kind of like the 4-star in a lot of ways, and this is the little one, and or the 20, the Bingo 20, and that one is almost ready for making kits. I don't know if I'm going to make a video of the build or not, because I'm terrible at getting these videos out in time, unless I just set it up, get it all ready to go, do that of the build. But it is a nice little sporty flyer, and so far the flight test, it's fairly aerobatic, but it's just mostly like a it's meant to be like a little bit more advanced type of trainer that you can still have fun with if you're, you know, a real seasoned pilot. And if you're just kind of getting over basic trainers, it's going to be a great little airplane. But yeah. Alright, so I'm going to glue this rib, and then I'm going to come over after I get this one in, and I'm going to put in W3 at the end down there. And that'll get the spar lined up. So I got glue all along my edge, and let's go ahead and install this rib, and that'll get the spar lined up. There we go. I'm gonna get another square, and I should probably print some little squares just for this to. In fact, House of Balsa used to make a little tool that you could slip over your rib, and it would make sure it was square to your table. And I think I could probably 3D print some of them if anyone's interested in that. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put a pin through the rib just a little bit through my sheeting. Okay, now I think, so this is W4 right here, and W4 has one notch, and don't mistake it for W2, which has two notches in it, wherever I have another W2. Yeah, so these has the two notches, and then this has the one notch, and the one notch goes to hold on the wingtip brace. And so now we can go ahead, put this on, and this is going to line up this end of all of this. Come on, back thing. There we go. Okay, like I said, that spar is a little snug. I hand cut, or yeah, I hand cut those myself. I didn't run down to the shop and get some to my regular shop. So that's going to kind of line everything up, and we have the square over here, so we should be square here, and we can double check that by bringing this over this way, and I'm just going to slide it right over the top of that, line it up, and I am pretty doggone close right there. So I'm going to go ahead and put a pin up here, and that's going to take care of that. So that's going to make sure that our panel is pretty square with itself, and I'm going to go ahead and glue this piece in. I know everybody's excited about the building the wings. You know, that's kind of the fun part. That's the thing that makes the airplane fly. Alright, and then let's put some glue in the spar slots. You want to make sure you have a good adhesion on all your surfaces, so every little part needs to have glue on it. Okay. I know the CA, the builders that like to build with super glues, they just stick it on there and hit it with the super glue. And some of this you could probably do okay with that. I don't have a good super glue right now. But if any bleeds through, you got to deal with those hard spots. And I don't want to deal with the hard spots when I go to sanding. Alright, so now I'm going to double check this for make sure that I'm perpendicular to my work surface. That looks pretty good. And I want to make sure that this rib is straight all the way across there. I'm making good contact there, so that looks pretty good. So now, you see how sometimes the paper holds it up a little bit? I'm going to do this old cross method thing, where you put a couple of pins and you cross them, and that'll help hold that down. So now we just have to come in and fill in all the W3s and all these little spots here. Okay, and I'll probably speed this little part up since it's kind of redundant, and I should have another W3 floating around, and there I do, right there. Okay, so let me go ahead and glue this in. But don't worry, I'm not going to play any music. If I do a montage. Let me get another shim up under there. Okay, so I'm going to show this before I go into doing the montage thing or speeding it up. These are the shear webs, and these are going to go in between each rib, and I'm going to use them as a gauge to go to make sure all my ribs are spaced in the middle and they're not curved or cattywampus. And this is W10. So and they're going to go in here, in between that. You can see this is a little snug. So I'll pull it just a little bit, and this should fit in there. If I drew all this and cut all this right, I'm going to measure this really quick. So I'm close to a 32nd over 2.5 inches. That was between them, right? Nope. I'm 2 5/8 outside to outside. That's about where that is. So I'm gonna try that, and then hopefully when we put this one on, we're still pretty close. And then if I have to trim them a little bit, I will. But it's not super critical but you want them straight. That's where there's going to be the most strength. But if they're not, it's not the total. I mean, if they're off by a 32nd, it's not going to hurt anything. Or a 64th. Yeah, I actually have had some time to go flying, and I'm going to go flying again this weekend. I'm only down to 2 gigs a weekend right now, but that's going to change with the holidays and everything. But it's still nice. Get a little bit of a break. Go enjoy the hobby some. Alright, that fit really nice. Let's see where this is. So yeah, that's pretty good. Just a touch of trimming. I think I'm going to be okay. We'll push this that way a little bit. Yeah, there we go. A little bit of sanding's not going to hurt anything. Alright, now I just want to see how this is popping up. I don't want that to happen. I want all this to be lying flat on my board. It's important to get a good flat wing. And we want this panel to be as flat as humanly possible. That's it's going to save you a lot of grief trimming later on, if you ever get it trimmed. Alright, let's go ahead and continue putting these in. Uh-oh, my little tab broke off of this one. It's got a little bit there. It's alright. Well, my battery died in the middle of gluing all these ribs on, and I was just yapping away, and then when I went to go stop, when I got to this point, I realized the battery died. But I was putting these other ribs in, and I put the spar joiners in, and there was something really important about that. Hold on. The spar joiners are designed, there's a tab here, and it's designed to go in to the notch on W2, and that's going to tie all this together. This is the wrong spar joiner, but it shows what I did. And the other thing that's really, really, really important with this whole section, and I can't stress enough, only use epoxy here. Do not use super glue, do not use wood glue, do not use anything but epoxy. And as I mentioned, I have 15-minute epoxy, And the longer the cure time on the epoxy, the stronger it is. But 15-minute works. So I put the spar joiners in, slid them in, and then I slid W1 over the top of that. And I had cut this to length here, and I wanted it to end right there on the end of W1, and then I epoxied that in there, and the epoxy's dry now, and that locks all that together. So I've got epoxy on both faces of the spard, and it attaches here, and I did that on the bottom, so and I clamped that at the bottom, and then it tabs into this one, and then it on W1 you can see where I have notches, and then those notches slide into there like that. And so this makes for a really strong center joint. And now I moved my pins. If you'll notice that they're moved, I moved my pins out of the way so I can oh crap, I can I've been playing with my 3D printer, and I spilled some stuff over here. I just got an SLA printer, and there we go. And anyway, I wanted to move the pin so when I come to put this sheeting on, then that it won't, the pins, I can get my pins out. So like this is ready to glue on, and then W12 should be ready to glue on as well. I'm going to see how we're lining up here. Yeah, there we go. So now that lines up there. That's pretty good. Let me check. I had this wing set up before, but I had the wrong dihedral, so I had to recut some of these parts and get it right. Yeah, this one's good. Okay. So the sheeting is a little different length and all that. And anyway, I think that's ready to glue on. And then these are going to be long, and I'm going to cut this bottom spar, and then I have the tips that I have to glue on, and then a little tip piece on there. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these on. I can't believe them. I will tell you, a rosin printer, I just got it, and it will make a mess. So just be careful with it. But I'm getting better with it. I'm finally able to get things print, and I bought it so that I can make some scale details, like, you know, motors or whatever else. And SLA printing gives you a nice fine detail for such things, for even cockpits, whatever. I have a feeling it's going to be as addictive as all my other hobbies. But anyway, I hope everybody had a really good Veterans Day. Just a little Veterans Day story that I have. My uncle, who is now 98 years old, was a tail gunner in B-24s in World War II. And he was shot down in Hungary and survived. And if you don't know anything about some of that, a tail gunner had a life expectancy of 2 weeks in World War II. But I guess he was a little bit later, so he told me, I talked to him today on the phone, he told me he didn't see too many planes. They would attack from the front. And that's when later in the year they made the G models and put the turret in the front. But he was pretty fortunate to survive that. And then I found out that 70% of B-24 crews died. So not only did he survive being a tail gunner in a B-24, he survived being in a B-24, and then he survived 2 years in German POW camps. So interesting story for Veterans Day, and the fact that he is still alive and very alert at 98 years old, and my aunt is still alive at 90. So it's kind of neat, He told me he's going to send me some articles. There's an article about a guy in southeast Texas that came up with a higher octane fuel that helped the British in the Battle of Britain, and that story was top secret for 70 years. But anyway, that's my little Veterans Day thing. I feel pretty lucky that he's still around. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and glue all this sheeting on, and then I will put in my these guys, the shear webs, and the leading edge I got to cut. And I've got I made a profile sander for the leading edge, so it'll make it easier to get the right shape. This is kind of a little more hybrid of traditional building and old school building, with probably a touch more old school or traditional building than modern methods. Did I say traditional and old school? Aren't they the same? But anyway, let's get this all glued up and good to go. Now there is a little bit of a curve up here with this piece. Oh, there we go. But so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put some pins in the front to help hold the front down. Go. And let's see if I can get this back part to stay down. I'll tell you what, I'm going to do a little trick here when you have a curved piece like this. I'm going to be right back. Alright, I got a little bit of warm water here and a paper towel. And there's a thing about wood, if you wet one side of it, it's going to curve, and it's going to curve on the wet side is going to be your convex side. So if I put some water on this side, it's going to make it want to curl toward the way I want it to go, because the grain absorbs, or the cellular fibers absorb the moisture and on this side, and they get, so it grows, and therefore it starts to curve the way we want it to go. So that's a little tidbit. If you ever need to curve some wood, this is the trick. And you notice it's already wanting to curve. Most of it is pretty close. So now I should get a pretty good get this thing around this corner pretty good. I don't want to spill that, and yeah, I do need to clean my bench. That's on my list of things to do this week. Trying to organize everything in my life. When you get things organized, it seems to make things a little better. Alright, maybe put 2 pins there. There we go. I know Midwest makes some pins that are really good for this, and you may try them. Now that I have a 3D printer, I'll make some of my own without having to buy them. I don't know how many of you guys have messed with 3D printers, but like I said, I just got one, and I have a feeling it's going to be addictive. If you hear that little noise in the background, that's the 3D printer printing something right now. And it's another test print, but my first real thing is I'm going to print out a 3-cylinder engine to put on this little biplane that I have just about ready to fly, just to give it some nice detail in the front. Here we go. So there, you can see how adding moisture on that side just really helps the whole thing curve, and it'll dry in this position now because we have it pinned down. Alright, now the next thing I need to do is to put these guys on. They're W10s. So this is W13 back here on the trailing edge, and that's W12 up there. And then let's put we're going to put these guys in. So these are made to go in between like an I-beam. Not on the face, but more like an I-beam. And you can put them on the face too. You know, if you're designing your own plane. Obviously this one is made to make the I-beam. I probably should have put these in before I put that top spar in. That way I'd get a good tight fit. But I think I'm going to be okay. There's enough snugness there, and we're going to be fine. Alright. I'm actually through with that piece. Okay. Well, somewhere I have a knife. There we go. My normal knife is on the other table. Okay. That one needs a little bit taken off of it. Just a smidge. So yeah, when you build this, if you build this plane, make sure and put these in before you put the top spar in. I failed to do that, but that's the step you should take. Really, it's kind of in order of the part numbers. W10 comes before the other ones there. Alright, that's good. Oops. That little bit off there. Oh, here's my scalpel knife. It's right here. I found it. Alright. Let me get these pins out of here. There we go. Just a little wide. Okay. Whatever you do, don't omit these things. These give your wing a lot of strength. Lots of strength. Got a little bit of room. Yeah, had I put these in, that would have spaced out my ribs a little better too. So, lesson learned. Alright. Oh, W11, W11, W. I have W11s and W10s. Not sure what I did there. Alright, I'm going to leave them off on those last two bays, and then I'm going to glue those in. So you really don't need it out toward the end, but you want them close to the center in the middle of the wing. That's That's where you're going to gain all your strength from these things. Yeah, I shouldn't have such a gap between all my videos. Then I'm able to keep some continuity in my head as to what I'm doing. But I do appreciate you guys subscribing and liking and watching the videos. And hopefully, I know every time I post one, No Glue Needed likes to make comments, and he appreciates what I do, and I appreciate what he does too. He's done some tricks that I was like, yeah, I may have to use that in my own drawings. So you always want to be learning. Alright. Maybe I'll montage this part, because this is a pretty boring part here. Alright. I'll come back and finish those other two, but I think for now in this video I want to show the center sheeting and how it works. So we have a W14 and a W15. I think 14 goes up here. Yeah, it looks like it. So I made these so that there's this tiny little bit right there left over, but it's not the smartest thing in the world to do, because if you notice, the grain is going this way and then this is just kind of hanging out there all floppy, and there's a good chance of it breaking. So don't do what I do. And we go this way. Yeah, we go that way. Okay. Yeah, see? Broken. Don't do that. And then broken. Now W15 goes right here. Just like so. It goes this way. There we go. That is snug. Ah, broke that one. Yeah, I'm gonna just take a trim just to shave a hair off of this. There we go. That's a little better. Ah! Broke that rib. Sure did. Alright, so I'm gonna leave with that. I'll fix that, and then but anyway, this will go on here like that once I get the rib glued back. Put a little bit too much. That's the one thing about when you cut those lightning holes, you got to be careful. And then I'll put that on, and then I'm gonna put the cap strips on. on the top. And let's see if we'll have some. Here we go. And then these cap strips, they're WTCs. They're going to go just like that. So we'll glue that, glue these on there all the way down to here, and well, let me put those on. Let me fix this rib. Oy vey. And get a pin to get the glue in there. And this is an application right here that super glue is good because it's not going to hit the surface. And I have some, but all my caps are glued together and it's a pain. I need to order some more. But this is the perfect place for super glue. Bring that up, and then I'm going to let that dry. I think I can put this piece on. Yeah, I can. And then that's going to help support that. Get glue on all these edges. Okay, that looks good. And here again is a place that you could use water if it's not quite making that curve, but I think we're going to be okay here. As long as I don't smash the rib again. Now on this part right up here, I'm going to put a little piece of tape up there. And that tape is going to help make this joint a little bit flatter wherever I have my tape. I don't like it when I misplace stuff. Tape, where did you go? I have a couple of rolls of you. That's what happens when I'm mid-stream on stuff. And I think it's holding down pretty good. I think I can put a pin in it, and that might hold it decent enough. Yeah, there we go. Okay, good, that works. Okay, so that's those, and then I'm gonna wait till the glue dries on the rib to put that, and then the cap strips are gonna go on top of each rib. And what this does, this gives the ribs the surface that it's even with the top of these. And you could design a rib so that it has a notch and then they come up. But cap stripped ribs, this wide surface, gives it a little bit nicer finish on the covering and helps keep your airfoil, you know, a lot more efficient because it holds the shape better. So that's why cap strips. You know, if I can get this all glued. All right. Here again, a piece of tape would do just fine right here. Put a piece of tape right over that and right over that, and that would hold it down. Well, anyway, I'm going to end this video right here. I'm going to continue to put these on and get this done, and then the next video we're going to start working on the wingtip and building the other wing, and I'll show how I join these wings since I do it different, and I build the wing as one piece with the joint in the middle there. Build it all up as one, so I prop up this one and lay it flat on for the new wing. But anyway, I hope everybody's having a great day, good weekend, and thanks for liking and subscribing.